is time to look at some of the free agents the Chicago Bears could look to target this upcoming free agency, and we will start with wide receiver DJ Chark. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, as always, hit the red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms and hit the bell icon, guys, so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, people, listen up. Off-season's in full swing here. Got a ton of off-season content planned for you guys, all right? I had all these videos written out, and I might still do them, but then I thought, you know what? Let me do it in a manner in which you guys get what you want first, right? Instead of me kind of putting out the content and assuming this is what you guys want. So what I want to do is, with free agency obviously coming up, and then with the draft coming up, I want you guys to tell me who exactly it is you guys want me to look or talk about for the Bears in free agency, for instance. And if enough of you guys tell me about that guy, I will talk about it and give you guys my free agent profile on him and, you know, give my analysis on if it's a good fit for the Bears, right? And so we start with DJ Chark here, who is a guy a lot of you guys have requested I make a video on, talk about DJ Chark to the Chicago Bears. Does it make sense? So in the comments down below, make sure you put down the guy that you want me to talk about next for free agency for the Bears. And again, if I see enough of you guys talking about him or commenting his name, I'll go ahead and make a video on that. All right, so with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's talk about DJ Chark of formerly the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I say formerly, he could still re-sign with the Jaguars, but in any case, DJ Chark is a free agent this season, or this offseason. And the Chicago Bears, one of their biggest needs in the offseason is wide receiver. I've mentioned that to you guys plenty of times. I believe it is wide receiver and offensive line. Those are the two biggest, secondaries in there as well, but those are the two biggest positions of need. And when we take a look at wide receiver, I'm fully expecting Allen Robinson to walk. Again, non-zero chance he could come back, but I am expecting him to walk in free agency. All right? I just believe the marriage there has just been, completely tarnished, and the relationship can't be repaired. And so when we take a look at Allen Robinson replacements in free agency, because we need guys besides just Darnell Mooney, DJ Chark is a guy that comes to mind because, to me, he is a guy that could fit the mold of the type of receiver the Bears should and could be looking at in the offseason. I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again. The Bears need guys who are speedy receivers but can also create yards after the catch. All right? Very important. Why? Because we barely had that last season. We barely had yards after the catch when we would throw the football to those guys. And that was one of my biggest criticisms of A-Rob is, as good as A-Rob is, he's a guy who gets the football and then he goes down. He doesn't try to get you a lot of yards after the catch. So, again, some of that is obviously on the quarterback in terms of the passes that they throw. But for the most part, I want to be able to have these, crossing patterns where the guy gets the football and boom, he's gone, right? OBJ taking off when he caught the pass in the Super Bowl, like things like that. So DJ Chark, I believe, is a guy who fits that profile. Let's talk about him in more detail here. He is 6'4", 210 pounds. He is only 25 years old, folks. Let me put that in perspective. Darnell Mooney, who we consider very young, our future at the wide receiver spot, he's 24. DJ Chark's 1 year older than me. Feels like he's been in the league forever. DJ Chark has already made a Pro Bowl. Now, I know a lot of people say Pro Bowl doesn't mean much, Faiz, but to me, again, it does mean a little bit, all right? And his best season, when he did make the Pro Bowl, was in 2019. He had 73 catches for 1,008 yards, all right? So DJ Chark has shown you he can produce. Now, last season, he went down. He had an injury. He had a fractured ankle in Week 4 against the Cincinnati Bengals and obviously was out for the rest of the season. The Jaguars ended up rolling with their guys like Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault, guys like that. But DJ Chark, make no mistake about it, he was a big part of that core. And so when I take a look at DJ Chark, I don't really just see him as a deep threat specialist. He can certainly do it, but he's much more than that. He's a wide receiver with good hands. He's got obvious speed, solid catch radius, and I believe he's a guy who could be had for a discounted rate. Coming off an injury, the same way we got A-Rob. It's funny, right? We got A-Rob from the Jaguars. We might try to get DJ Chark from the Jaguars. Funny how the world comes around in full circle. The same way we kind of got A-Rob on a discount, we could do the same thing with Chark coming off an injury. And again, unlike an ACL, which you guys have been worried about with Michael Gallup and with Chris Godwin, this is a fractured ankle. And so if we can get him for the cheap, I think he'd be a great fit for the Bears because, again, he brings that speed element. He can get you yards after the catch, and he's still relatively young and fits the timeline of a guy you can keep around with Justin Fields for years to come. So is he a wide receiver 1 or 2? Really not sure at this point. He could become a wide receiver 1. I think I've seen the flashes in him. And to me, again, you put him against Darnell Mooney. He was hurt last year, but I like both guys a lot. So DJ Chark, to me, is a guy I would absolutely target in free agency. He has my full green light. I would like the Bears to go after DJ Chark because if you get past the big names, right, the Godwins, the Mike Williams of the world, obviously Devontae Adams, don't even want to talk about that. The guys like DJ Chark, who you can get for a discount and can give you better production than you paid for, that's what makes a good organization. So I absolutely am sold. I want DJ Chark on the Bears. I think he'd be a great fit. We could still get another receiver, but just imagine Chark, Mooney, a receiver we draft, or another one we sign in free agency. That would be special. Chark can do everything. And he's very young, and you can get him at a discounted rate. He checks all the boxes for me. I'm all for the Bears going after DJ Chark. So let me know what you guys think about DJ Chark. Leave a comment down below if you guys want the Bears to get him. I do. I'm sold. Let me know. As always, thanks for watching.